It's on.
Well, you want me to talk a bit about the Wilsons?
Yes.
Now, the Wilsons, I understand, through research, came over here in 1642, 43, or thereabouts. They came from um, Scotland. Now, it can be assumed that they were not the peasants, because one of the children of James Wilson became the high sheriff of one county, and later on became a high sheriff of another county. And it looks to me that somewhere in there, somebody knew Lord Baltimore to get the appointments. So therefore, that's why I don't think they were peasants. They must have been of the. I would assume James was a younger son of an aristocratic person. Now, as to the Kilroys, they've been in the same farm for 200 years, digging their peat. The big problem came when they had the potato famine. In Ireland, everybody planted potatoes. And I understand that when they were brought up and everybody went out to the fields and tried to pick them up, they were black. So that was what you would call the potato famine. And that's what started the Kilroys coming to the United States. Now, my grandmother was a Tige, and she married my grandfather Kilroy. Now, the Tiges were very influential people in Ireland. I understand that some of the Tiges were on the Parliament. Cardinal Gibbon is part of the my grandmother's mother's maiden name was Gibbon. And it was Cardinal Gibbon who was in there. I read the Life and Times of Cardinal Gibbons, and the name Tige is very prominent in there. So anyway, that's the way that is. We have the information relating to my father, my grandfather, Kilroy, the church he went to, and all that sort of thing. Now, so it's a couple of hundred years. They were very proud farmers. In other words, here again, they weren't peasants. Now, getting back to the Wilsons. My father no, just wait 1 minute while I get it gets so complicated in here. But my father, his mother was Mary Wilson. And Mary Wilson was the daughter of, I forget his name, but anyway, in the family there somewhere, there's one of our relatives was in Andersonville there since 1844 until the end of the war. I'm very sorry. He was born in 1844, and on his 21st birthday, he was in Andersonville. So, and my it should not be that difficult. I cannot do it, but it should not be that difficult. If you can understand the movements of the people, there are four Wilson families, also four Wilson families in Berks.
Go ahead.
the Wilsons were not nice people that I have met, and the Kilroys were very nice people. And that gets me down to my story. Well, it always amused me that I was born in the Presbyterian Hospital in Philadelphia, me being a Catholic. And at that time we were living in somewhere in Delaware County. And I don't really remember. I remember a few things when I was a kid. The story is told. I don't remember. When my mother tells me that one time my father was going out, and I wanted to go. So I chased him down the street saying, I want to go, I want to go. And he slapped me, and I slapped him, and he slapped me again, and I hit him back. And it was a fist fight between a father and a child. Would you believe that? Maybe I hold up today. But my father evidently couldn't take the gap, and he had to leave. He left. He left us with my mother with 5 kids. And the young people today don't know what a depression is. A depression is where you don't have enough money to buy the meal right now. And then when you get up in the morning, you don't have the meal there either. And there's nobody to help you. Call Aunt Sadie, she doesn't have it. But anyway, it's very was very difficult times, and I guess he felt that it was he couldn't take it. But anyway, he left us, and it was then that my mother didn't know what to do, but the only thing she could do was take us to the Catholic home, which is still going today in Philadelphia, and which would then distribute us throughout the city in the Catholic charities. It was at that time that my brother George and my brother John were scheduled for St. John's, and I was scheduled for St. Vincent's. But when we were at St. John's, the mother said, "Oh, leave him too. We'll take care of him." So that's why I started there in St. John's. My brother Joe was much too young, and he was put someplace else. I don't really know. And my sister was sent to St. Vincent's Girls. So I remember St. John's all the way up. You know, it was crowded. It had 600 kids, which was the most it had ever had. And the classrooms were 60 kids in each one. It was crowded, but we didn't know crowded. You know, we were kids. We didn't know crowded. Everybody was well taken care of. When you went to bed, you slept with 60 other people. The beds were in rows. The bathrooms were large. The showers, plenty of them, everything from all the way up. The nuns were very nice. I never really had a problem with the nuns. They all liked me for some reason or other. But I'll never forget Sister Leonardo. Now, that's the first year, class nun. And my mother gave me a book, a little book, like you buy for kids today. And she gave it to Sister Leonardo for me. I never saw the thing. So I think that Sister Leonardo used it for her own purposes. But where all right,
What about St. Did you go to St. Thomas More High School?
Wait till I get there.
All right.
Let me see. I skipped the second grade, went on to the third grade with Sister Materna, and she was cleaning up. She had cleaning up in the main building over there, and she used to give me an apple every morning or whatever the fruit was. So might occasionally give me a dessert. So Sister Materna and I got along. Then I keep forgetting some of the nuns. Would you believe that? But I got along with all the kids, and all the kids got along with me. Let's face it. But you did have chums. It's a very interesting social element there, where the black kids, of which there were maybe 5 in the whole place, they weren't black, they were kids, just like everybody else. All of them had a chum. Can you understand what I mean? There was no sort of color, there was no sort of anything. They were just white, the same as us. And Sammy Krause, I've never gotten over that kid. He graduated from one place, but he then went into the Navy. Now that's much better for him. But I never liked it. Those kids left this element of everybody's equal into some place where where they can't be equal. But anyway, let me see. We had a band, and I was told to play the clarinet. I played the clarinet. I was always good at, the usual literature, English, spelling, that sort of thing. I was normally good at that. Let me see. There was nothing. We had a lot of fun, really. You had your built-in friends. It was. And nobody detested anybody else. Nobody hated anybody else. They were there, maybe, and then they were very friendly. But there were no contests. Everybody got along. And we used to getting on to high school. Then I got into St. Thomas More High School. Now, it was almost the beginning. It was only a few years. Now, St. John's had a band. And the first day that I was in high school, they had a parade, a Sacred Heart parade, by the policemen and firemen, which they have every year. And St. John's band was the band they had. And I had to carry a flag. Now, that thing was heavy. And they always kidded me later on. Wilson got it caught in the trees. Well, I did. But, you march down the parkway, then you cut in there and you go into the cathedral. Well, that was really something. That was my first night. And then the first night we went home, and then there was one of the Louis. The Louis fights was on, and we had a little radio. Now, here again, radio. You had one radio per house. That was it. You didn't have radios like they have today, one in every room, and maybe two in one room. It was one radio in one house, and the nuns had to save the kids' money up to get the radio. I'm trying to think, of all the things, because even in the lower Brook Ridge, I used to get a big kick out of it. We always had fun, and but in high school, life was not hard for me, if you can understand that. I was a bright young fellow who didn't give a damn about studying. It came to me, if you can understand what I mean. My first report card had 4 70s and a 95. And I said, do I get a silver card, recommendation? Everybody laughed at me. But we then joined the band. We were directed to join the band. You must understand, St. Thomas More started a band. Now, the way they were successful was, they took St. John's band and merely extended it. See? So they had a ready band already made, and then they just filled it in. And I enjoyed the band. There was a lot of nice fellas there. I'm trying. When I went back to one of the reunions, you remember the band, and we had very, very nice time with it. But we had a lot of spirit in our band, St. Thomas More band. We would, the game would be over. We lost. We lost every game. But on the way home, we walked from the stadium, which was a dust bowl. It was horrible. Down to the high school. We marched. And when we go by, we were playing wonderful, and and everything. Did you win? Did you win? No. But we were a very good group. I mean, they were always good spirits all the time. And so it was fine. There are many stories. Tell some of the stories about Ireland. That when I told you about my grandfather and when one of his friends had died, and they all went to have a party, and they had a party, and they picked up the guy who was dead, sat him at the table, and then they all had a good time. And then before he went, they put him back in the coffin, and so a lot of stories. My grandfather was great for great stories. He was a lovable Irishman, and everybody loved him, really. He drank, but he never became, absolutely drunk. But you could always find him at McGarland's. Dinner's ready, go get Grandpapa at McGarland's. That's the bar. And he was a good man. But I don't remember offhand, the stories he tells us, but there was always one story there Grandmom told how father was driving home one morning with his horse and carriage, and the horse wouldn't move, and he beat the horse, and the horse wouldn't move. Then he got out, and he went over there, and my God, the bridge was out. So he's always said that horse saved his life. Well,
Why don't you tell us about Marcel Vitti?
well, I'll get to that in a minute. I honest to God, I've always enjoyed myself. I've always enjoyed myself in spite of other things. I've always looked at everything as fun. I have never looked at anything as an ordeal. I've always seen everything as something to be accomplished, that I've done it. And in high school, I finished there. I had no idea what life would bring me. Absolutely nothing. No idea. I was smart enough to think, am I going to be an academic? In academics, no. You have to go into college for that. Would I be in the chemistry and all that? No, I wouldn't have the faintest idea what it's all about. Or should I go into a commercial course, which was stenography and typing and all that, which I did. And so I graduated. Well, first of all, in about March of that year, my mother became very ill. And I had to leave St. John's and go on to home to help take care of my mother. So, and then I went to school, and but I was still from St. John's, and I started to work in about April. This is before I graduated from high school. The Highway Express, as my mother always said, Highway Express. They're the ones that make you say that sort of thing. Yeah. Whatever I did wrong, it was Highway Express. And I did that job. I'm now working on a situation which is work a day. Where am I going from here? I had the faintest idea. I was 17 when I graduated. And I had no idea about anything. So, what's the matter? So, no, it's like most kids that come out of high school. Life is here. There's nowhere to go. But may I have a cup of coffee there?
Is it hot?
Yeah. Thank you. I had several jobs. I worked for the railroad. Dirty job. And I had a number of jobs. The railroad job was very dirty, and that's why I quit. Let me see, I'm trying to think. Until one day, I got a call from Marcel Vitti, who had employed my brother George. And he asked me to help him out. Now, I had a smattering of shorthand. and I got along. You know, we started working there, and he only needed me from 11 o'clock until 5 o'clock, which was fine. And I was about, I suppose, 19 at that time. And the war had come on. I was 4F on account of my year. And he was an enjoyable man to work for. He was a connoisseur of many things. On art. You must understand here. To me, I had no realization there were such people as he. He was a lawyer, so he was a lawyer. What do lawyers do? They practice law. Well, I didn't know what all that was. But he was retired, so therefore he didn't practice law or anything else. But then he had a few things that he did, and we kept them, and we kept busy enough. But occasionally he'd sit and talk with me and give me books to read. Now, I have read